What's up, y'all? It's Peaches, your favorite nail tech. Welcome back to my channel. Tonight's video, we are going to get into some acrylic toes. Now, I do already have a video on my channel from last year, and coincidentally, it has just about hit 5,000 views. So that's really crazy, like literally perfect timing. Now, the thing about this particular set is these toes are not perfect. Her toenails are all different shapes and sizes, so I'm gonna teach y'all how to work with that. But of course, before we get into it, let's do the subscriber shout out. Today goes to Nurse of Beauty, subscribed since December 31st. Y'all already know, turn on your subscribe, turn on your notifications, okay? So I thought I would just include a quick clip of me basically showing you guys what type of things do I need when I go ahead and do acrylic toes. If you're not familiar with what acrylic toes are, they are acrylic on your toes. It's exactly what it sounds like. However, we don't use no tips over here. Tips is dangerous. So notice how I'm grabbing a whole lot of, okay? But not tips. You don't see any tips in sight, okay? We do this over here on my channel as a natural overlay. We work with what you got to give you an enhanced look, okay? So basically, you just need a nail file. I like to use 8080 zebra files. Zebra files are not as coarse as black files, and they're just not as coarse in general, but they still shape very well. Young Nails Monomer. We've got some like antibacterial spray over there. We got a cuticle pusher. We got our Young Nails protein bond, and we're using the color Nude Panther today. Now, I kind of tripped up because I thought that one was it, but that's a custom color that I have just in a Nude Panther case. And basically, we're good to go. So now look, this is the condition of her nails when she first came in. I already sprayed them with that blue spray. I use it as, it's like an alcohol spray. She does not have any fungus. She doesn't have anything wrong. It is discoloration. She did not book a pedicure. So we're just going to go ahead and jump into the acrylic toes, in which we start out by pushing the cuticles back just like you would on a regular full set. Now, she came to me, this is a first time client, and first off the bat I noticed, well, she already told me that the place she went previously, her toenails were broken down lower than that, but this isn't grown in. If you look closely, you can kind of see a horizontal line on her big toe. You see, kind of, it's hard to see, like an indent, and that's exactly where the toe was, and it has grown. Now, the toenail does not grow starting from the tip. It grows starting from the mantle, which is an area that's kind of like behind your echinocchium, which is what you guys consider the cuticle area. That's underneath the skin, okay? So that's where your nail grows, okay? So basically, it's going to take a while for her nail to grow out to where it needs to be. So you can see it's quite a bit that got taken off, and what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to use acrylic to go ahead and fix it and give her a natural look. On that pinky toe, that's like skin that's grown over the nail plate. When you see something like that, please be careful, because for some people it will file off and reveal something underneath, and for other people it may be painful. So please talk to your clients. This whole process right here, I'm talking to my clients. I ask questions. I ask, so where did you go before? Have you ever had this service? What are you used to normally seeing? How often do you get your feet done? That's not just small talk. I'm doing that to make the client comfortable enough to reveal information about themselves. Because, like, for example, if she revealed that she was a diabetic or something, I have to go about the service in a lot more of a careful way than somebody who was not. Because diabetics, if you guys did not know this, cutting a diabetic can be dangerous and deadly, and basically all of the things you don't want. Because, y'all, I'm talking, right? So you guys already know how to do basically acrylic prep. You're doing the same thing to the toes except for no tips. Anyways, but yeah, for a diabetic, it can be very dangerous, because if they get cut, they are extremely prone to infection, which leads to amputations, okay? And then, you know, someone could have complications during an amputation, which can result in death. So that's what I'm saying. It's being a nail tech is so much more than let me just slap some shit on your toes and your hands, okay? So anyway, so basically, because she does have a good amount missing, okay, pretty much almost half of it is gone. It's just at a diagonal rate. I'm going in with a nice size bead. Now that bead I knew was going to be too small, and right here I just forgot if I used a protein bond or not, so that's why I'm doing a third layer. You don't need to do that. I just forgot. So her nail beds are also smaller. You see some inconsistencies with not only the shape and size of her toes, but with the actual shape and size of her toenails as well. And that's fine. Everyone comes in different shapes and sizes. It's normal. I don't want to see no comments about her toes is weird and all this. she herself stated to me, she's like, I know my feet are weird, my toes is weird, I just want a natural look. Okay, so please, kind comments only, thank you very much. So I use a larger bead because her toenails are small. As you can see, her big toe does not take up very much space at all, and one like this is like a medium-sized bead. One medium-sized bead pretty much does the trick. Now, if you are not familiar with how to get your ratios, your liquid to powder ratios, in such a way that would allow you to form and mold, because you have to know how to make it dry enough that it's just going to allow you mold like this, but also still wet enough that it does mold and does not freeze up right away. I do have videos on my channel showing you guys how to go about your liquid to powder ratios and how to practice. Okay, so I pretty much already knew that based on where her toenail was broken, and I'm going underneath so that way it does not get stuck to the skin. You want to have a natural look so people can still clean underneath their toenails. Okay, so that is why I do that during the process as well. But I knew we were going to go for a more natural look, basically tip of the toe. And that is because for her, because her toenails are small, that little corner that's broken at a diagonal rate, it extends past what you would consider like half of the nail. So it is a good amount of nail that is gone for somebody who only has a toenail her size. Okay, and the reason being is that if I extended it much further than this, further than her toenail, there's going to be a good amount of space that's not actually not actually connected to anything, if that makes sense, because there is a missing gap there. And if she were to stub her toe or to do anything, it could lead to more possible damage than there already is. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and tuck the acrylic like we normally do. And if you look on that right side, not on this side, let me see if I go back over there, it's on the right side of the toe, you can see a little gap in there. Not here, it's kind of hard to see. I can see it in real life very easily. Over there where I just touched, right there where I'm touching, there is a little bit of a gap because her nail wall is much deeper on one side of her toe than the other. So you see, kind of, you can see like a little black space. And so I'm trying to adjust and fix things to go with the shape of her cuticle area, and for the fact that, like I mentioned, you see there is a slight gap right here, right here, right here. I have to really focus on pressing the acrylic in, but making sure it's not too runny. You have to do things with timing, because that's why I'm looking, because if it's too wet and watery and you're trying to press it into someone who has deep nail walls like that, it's just not, it's gonna flood and you're not gonna be able to file, and it's gonna cause problems. But if it's too dry and you're not able to press it deep enough into the gap, it's going to leave such a gap that it's going to cause things to get trapped underneath. So it's a really fine balance, and that's why I'm really taking my time. You see, I added a little extra acrylic, and I'm only adding the acrylic just so that way I can tuck it into that little gap. And it is deeper than what it looks. And when you have instances like this, you are not going to be able to fully get it down in there. You should not worry about trying to get it deep as you can into her nail groove and her nail wall, because at the end of the day, number one, you want to be able to file there, and number two, this is really for aesthetic purposes. I do not want to affect anything as far as like the anatomy of her nail and things like that, you know what I'm saying? So this is the best that we're going to be able to do in reach and still be able to file everything. So now her second toe, as you guys can see, her second toe and her big toe are the same length. Okay, so this second toe, we're also doing a natural length. I'm pretty much doing all her toenails like to the tip of her toe. Most people don't want super long length. They really just want it to be squared out, which is why I don't use tips, because, well, tips don't fit your toenails right anyways. They usually cause squeezing that causes them to pop off and take your real nail with them as well, which is why they're dangerous, or you can get an injury if you accidentally like kick something. The tip will want to come off where it's glued on, and your toenail can go with it, just like on your hands. Okay, so basically the toe I'm doing right now, you can say it's more aligned with what people would consider like the ideal amount of space for a toenail to be doing acrylic nails, just because it's large, it's already kind of squared out, and on top of that, like you don't really have too much trouble doing anything. You can see I did with ease. Now, normally I would kind of just do it in one bead and call it good, but for whatever reason, I decided to kind of break it up in smaller beads. I think it was just the way I placed the first bead. I was trying to be careful, and I also did not want to make it too thick because her other toenails are so small that I also have to think about matching the thicknesses of all the toenails, because the smaller the toenail, the less acrylic you need. So now I'm having to kind of do things a little bit differently than normal because, like I said, there are a little bit of inconsistencies within each toe themselves. So, whew, you guys, I'm out of breath. Shout, please. So now this toenail here, right? You can see this is where the rest of the toenails start to get smaller. This toenail grows upwards, which is why I have to press downwards so hard, because if I don't, all the acrylic, first of all, it's not going to dry. It's not going to stay in place. Like, you can see the acrylic is already starting to slide deep into her nail groove back there, because she does have a type of cuticle area, like her skin. You can see on that second toe and her big toe, she doesn't have too much of like a I don't even want to call it a knuckle, but like all of her toenail is showing. On this particular one, you can see how deeply I have to kind of stick my brush back there to kind of like push the acrylic back, but then I also have to clean it up to make sure that it's not so far back that I won't be able to file it, because you guys will see when I'm filing, I will not be able to get as deep back there as I need to. This type of toe is also normal. There's people who have all 10 toes that grow like this, and it is a little bit more difficult and more challenging because you're not able to really extend it too much, to be honest. The best thing for people that have toenails that grow upwards is to go ahead and do their overlay and give them, you know, what it is they're working with. And you guys will see in the final results that this toenail, it's gonna look like it's scrunched up. It's gonna, like, from a different angle, it's gonna look scrunched up. It's gonna look like, oh, it's just mad short, although I did extend it. Okay, the best thing to do is to do the overlay how you can, and then as the toenails grow out, encourage them to come back for fills, so that way their toenails will grow naturally and they will get a much better result as the toenails get longer. I would not suggest putting tips on a toenail like this because it does grow upward. It's just going to enhance the upward growth as it gets longer. It's not going to appear normal as it grows out. Versus doing an overlay, the toes are going to grow naturally, and you're just going to get a natural look because there's nothing impeding the way that it looks, basically. Oops, damn. So doing a toenail like this is why I have to just kind of work on it. I have to go slower. I have to use very small beads. And when I wanted to extend it, I have to just only extend it at the very tip, just as little as possible, because the acrylic just automatically slides down to the cuticle area. So now the ring finger toe, you can see it's kind of a cross between that toenail that grows upwards and her other toenails that kind of grow in a more straightforward fashion. She has a cuticle area that is a little bit tucked, but it's not too bad. You can see how I have to hold her toenail, well, this one again a little bit downwards, because she does have like more of a tucked cuticle area on this toenail, on this toe, and I have to make sure that none of the acrylic is going to slide back into an area where I will not be able to reach. But because this toe, well, not this one, this toe, the ring finger, also kind of mimics how the middle toe next to the big toe grows, it's much more straightforward, and it's a little bit less work than that ring toe. Okay, so you just have to keep that in mind when you're doing acrylic toenails. You need to really keep in mind what type of shape do they have naturally, and what am I going to do that's going to enhance the shape, because at the end of the day, acrylic toes is meant to enhance what you already have. Okay, and no matter what you try and do, tips, this, that, or not, it's only gonna look a certain way for so long. Okay, so something like this for the pinky toe, someone who does not have very much of a pinky toe, and her other foot had even less of a pinky toenail. Okay, I have to just kind of set the bead there and let it stiffen up. There's not too much that I can do. I have to let the bead kind of water down, and as I pull it down, it's gonna be on the skin, and you guys are gonna see me shape and mold it. I have to elongate it out and try and let it dry that way. because realistically, this one's not going to be extended too long either, because it is already so short. At the end of the day, you guys need to realize, for some people, there's only so much that you can do when they have toenails that kind of grow at different and odd angles, because all 10 are not going to look identically the same. So basically, you can see me kind of just trying to get the shape, and that's what you will focus more on. Yes, they will have a shorter toenail and you know, at the end in the result, but you want to focus on getting the shapes to be pretty much congruent. And she was very happy with these results, you guys. I know a lot of people are used to seeing on Instagram, oh, this person's toenail, this and that. A lot of people are not showing the clients that are a little bit more difficult. The most difficult things they show is somebody who barely has a big toe. And at that point, you should not be extending it anyways, because if they have any troubles, or if that toenail gets kicked in any way, it's going to come off. People don't talk about that enough. Okay? People do not talk about the safe practices behind doing this type of service. Just the same way, if you try and put nails on a finger that does not have enough nail, or that is not healthy enough, the same thing goes to toes. Okay? So just kind of think about that before you start providing this service, because you don't want to be responsible for causing any more damage than has already been done. Okay? So basically, the type of beads that you should be using need to be small enough, but also opaque enough to provide the right color. Now you can see I'm making sure the big toe is dry. By the time you get to the pinky toe, the big toe should most definitely be dry. Okay? And this is how I test. I scratch at it, because if my nail were to make an indent, then that's like, okay, no, it's not dry. You can feel that it would still have like a silky feeling, and it wouldn't be hard. So here I'm using my drill on 3000 RPM. It's still low speed, but you know, a little bit higher than the lowest speed. Okay? And I'm going around the cuticle area, and I'm really making sure that see that side where there was that little gapping and I went in there. I'm really making sure that I'm getting all these areas pretty good, because we want a natural thickness to the toenail. So I'm going under here, because this is going to provide the illusion, well, not really an illusion, but it's going to give you a C curve. Some people naturally have a C curve in their toenail. I know I do in my big toe, but it's going to make sure that there's nothing that's stuck underneath there, and that the tip is not thick. So she will still be able to clean under her toes and do all that type of thing. We want this to be, you know, it's going to be a little bit thicker than a real toenail, but we want it to appear the same thickness as a real toenail. Okay? Natural. That is the goal. Natural. A lot of people don't talk about the longer your toenails. People don't realize what it's like to have long toenails. I personally grow them, and some other people can. But you know, when you put your feet in shoes, it's a different type of feelings. People don't realize that it changes the way that you walk. It changes a lot of things. And some people kind of find that a lot of places do toenails too long. Like I said, this is what I would consider the natural length, which people like if they have certain jobs, or if they're on their feet a lot, or if they do have a nail injury where I'm just like, hey, this is as far as I'm comfortable and safe with extending it, or I should say I'm comfortable safely extending it, because you know, there's been times where people didn't want to listen, or they, you know, told me stories about X, Y, and Z, and it's kind of like, see, that's why, hey, better safe than sorry. And then it's gonna grow out healthy, and everything's gonna be fine, and you're gonna be like, wow. So basically, now at this point, I'm kind of almost sitting next to her, and I like to always look from this angle, because it will show you how, not only how square, but it will show you how how straight across the tip is. I always recommend doing that. I do it almost for every toe, like just depending. Like at the end of the foot, I look to see like, okay, are all toes matching up? Is everything kind of the same? And that's the angle that I look at. Now from this angle, it pretty much, you can see that the toenails are all what you would consider like at the tip of her toe type of situation. Now when I show you the final angle, or you may have seen it in the beginning, it's gonna look like that ring finger, middle toe. Y'all, I'm sorry, I'm I messed up the names of the toes earlier, but I guess that ring finger toenail, which is the one that grows upward, not this one. I guess this would be the index toe, but the one that grows upward, you're gonna see, like I said, it's not gonna look the same. There's nothing I could have done to make it look the same because there's only so far it could be extended. But you can see when you lay the toe, the foot flat, it looks very natural and it looks like everything belongs. So sometimes you will have that happen depending, like I said, this particular client has different types of toenails and as well as toes all next to each other. Okay, like I said, she was very happy with the result. She's actually not from out here. She's from a whole different state, but she just happened to be out here for a couple of months and she's getting ready to go back home. And so she wanted to make sure that she was able to have something before she left. Okay, so as I'm filing this one, you can see I'm having a hard time getting back there in that cuticle area. And honestly, that's pretty normal because she does have like a tucked cuticle. As you can see, it's tucked and it almost kind of makes like a knuckle looking right there. Like the drill bit is not gonna fit back there and you just have to kind of like go over the same area with just the hopes that it seals correctly. And I'm gonna be honest, it's not just on her, it's for anyone that has a tucked cuticle area like that, because the drill is not gonna be able to get like their like knuckle skin or whatever, their cuticle area. It's so far up that like so much nail is hidden, there's no way that you can get back there. And if you don't stick acrylic back there and you don't tuck the acrylic correctly, then it's gonna look like that one toe needs a fill. So it's a very fine line between providing something that's aesthetic versus providing something that is gonna last up to the wear and tear, and also looking and actually analyzing someone's foot. Okay, so that's part of the job as well. So you can see with the pinky toe from here, it looks like, oh, okay, yeah, we're all even. But she does also, the tips of her toes are also bulbous. So when she does sit her toes up, it does have a different look than when she, her toenails are flat, like her actual foot is flat. I'm sorry. So we go underneath just to make sure nothing is too thick. We like a little bit of a natural C curve. It makes them look like real toenails, really. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, it is her real toenails, but because, you know what I'm saying, it doesn't look like this is necessarily an overlay. Kind of looks like, oh, okay, maybe she got a gel polish type of situation. All right. So I originally had a different video planned for today, but that didn't work out. But I am glad that I was able to film this for you guys, because obviously I don't know what people's feet are going to look like for the first time when I first see them. And I felt like posting this was very important, because a lot of times on YouTube or on different places, people only show one type of feet. It's a lot of people out there that have different types of feet and different types of toes. And you can see I'm still trying to figure, can I get back there? And I was only able to get back there so much, but I feel like I spent enough time sealing it that it's gonna be fine. Usually it is. Like, she's not the first one whose feet that have had those type of toenails, so I know that it's fine. I just like to try my best. So I feel like it is very important that we show a lot of different types of hands, feet, skin tones, a lot, because at the end of the day, someone might have a foot like this that's thinking, man, I don't want to show anybody, and someone else, you know, like, people might not know, like, this is normal. I'm not saying her feet are abnormal, but this is the foot that's here. So I'm just saying, when it comes to feet, it's like only one particular type of foot shown, you know, and only one type of look when it comes to acrylic toes. A very long, very sharp, square, you know, something that most people don't actually wear in real life. So I wanted this to be just like a very realistic view. So after, you know, I go ahead and shape and everything, I spray the toes with the alcohol, the antibacterial spray, and then I go ahead and wipe them really good with the towel, so that way when I go ahead and top coat, there's no dust, no nothing caught in there. And I'm gonna go ahead and top coat, cure them, and that is the end of it. Like I said, she was very happy with the end result. I feel like the end result looks great. The end result actually looks great compared to what she was working with before. Absolutely great. Like I said, it's only when she lifts her foot up do you see the inconsistencies and differences in her toenails, but that's just simply how her toenails grow, you know. That's just how it is. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on those notifications, because if they're not on, how you know if I'm posting? You know what I'm saying? And I think I have an up close of the big toe coming up, super duper up close. You can see everything is considered natural length for each toe, what fits each toe. As you can see what I'm talking about with the when she sits her foot up, you can see, but each foot is even to the other. Okay, so once again, I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, I will see you guys tomorrow.